are coming together to share some gratitude. We are coming together. It's time for lifting attitude. It's love morning time for you. Love morning time for me. Love morning time for all of us. So let's see what we see. Love morning with you. Love morning with you. Love morning with you. Love morning with you. Hey, all right. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. We are having a Halloween love morning. Good morning. Happy Halloween. It is wonderful to have my loyal subjects here to gather for a Hug Nation Love Morning to share gratitude of I don't really have a King Halcyon prepared spiel, but good morning, Danielle, and good morning, Gerbot. Happy Halloween. Hello, Razor Blade. I don't get to wear my puffy shirt very often, so I thought it would be something that a medieval king might wear. So happy Halloween to everyone who's here. This is a Love Morning daily practice, a chance to share some gratitude and have a reminder of our connection. If anyone's got any Halloween stories or gratitudes or thoughts or reflections on anything about Halloween, that would be especially welcome, but anything is welcome as we share and connect before we get into our days. Good morning, Dow Girl. I am grateful. I'm grateful for the role of Halloween in my life over the years. And that before Burning Man, Halloween was the high holy day of radical self-expression. It was the one day that you got a permission slip and you could dress in a way that was outside of your established identity, and you could do so and experiment and play with like a free pass. You wouldn't get judged. It wouldn't affect your reputation. You could dress sexy or take your shirt off at a party. I would intentionally think of a costume that would allow me to have my shirt off, like caveman, because you were allowed to. You couldn't go to a party normally with an outfit like that. Of course, now I feel like the last 4 parties I've gone to, I've worn, mesh tank tops. So now I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with it, and that's kind of the benefit, that I've experienced over the years. Initially, Halloween was the once a year permission slip, and then Burning Man, you get a full week. And then over time, you realize that Burning Man is teaching you that you have a permission slip all the time. And there's really no reason, except for fear of judgment, that you can't do what you want when you want. And the more you have a community that supports radical self-expression, the less risky it is, because you know that the only people judging you are the ones that are stuck in their own shit. And that is liberating. Good morning, Painty. Hello, Natasha. Yes, I am King Halcyon here to wish a happy Halloween to my loyal subjects. I will be collecting tribute and taxes. Hopefully you have had healthy yields in your farmlands so that my tax collectors do not have to, drop the hammer. Moose Cock is saying hello in Calgary. Good morning. Hello to you. Or good midday, I should say. Is that right? Wait, no, you're in Calgary, so you're also morning. I sometimes get confused. Gerbot is grateful for a holiday that lets us dress up and hang out with friends. Danielle says, amen. Burning Man shed such a huge layer for me. My outward expression has gotten so much juicier. Yeah. Love that. Good morning, Bella Bell. And good morning, Kiri. Natasha says, I have so many zucchini I can pay with. Excellent. The royal treasury is deficient in zucchini. Good morning, Trish. Good morning. Good to see you. And Vesper says, I am grateful for my community of weirdos. Oh, yes. Speaking of weirdos and community and gratitude and Halloween, I was looking at a memory of you, Vesper, winning the Halcyon costume contest. Was that last year? I did a little silliness and had people, if you want to dress up as a cartoonish version of me, and Vesper fucking rocked it. Good morning, Nick. Good morning. Good morning, Suzanne. Hello to you in Omaha. Happy Halloween. Scott, we are sending out love to you. Scott says, I had to put my dog down yesterday and I am heartbroken. So big warmth and love to you, Scott, from all of us. And I love how Facebook and my online photo albums allow me to look back at dress up over the years. I don't think I have it scanned. I gotta find the old original picture. Like when I was in junior high, I dressed up as Motley Crue, as Nikki Sixx for Halloween, and I had my mom help me make a fake leather vest and leather like gauntlets that had pentagrams on them. What a good sport she was. With my feathered hair. But my favorite costume that I think about over the years, I think I was much younger. That was junior high, was when I was Nikki Sixx, but probably more like 10, 11, 12. I wanted to go as a carrot. This is insight into the weird kid mindset of like I wanted to be weird. And so my mom helped me make a carrot costume out of paper. So I had like a green hat that we made out of paper that was the stock. And then I was painted orange paper in the shape of a carrot with my head cut out. And very quickly, the paper costume just started to crumple. And all you could tell was I was like orange with green. And it was Halloween, so everyone thought I was a pumpkin. Now, for a child who is trying to be weird, a pumpkin costume on Halloween is not weird. And I was heartbroken that everyone thought I was a pumpkin. So that was a big lesson in expectations. Excuse me. I have another really one of my hardest Halloween. I do have a Carrot Boy picture. I don't have it right now, but I think I have it somewhere. I have like a beginning of the night, end of the night, like how it started, how it's going picture. I got to find that. I was reminded this week of an experience that really affected me. When I was in junior high, maybe beginning of high school, I was at a camp out event, like a surf trip. And one of the guys I was on the trip with, as we were around the fire, he said, remember that Halloween when we all ditched you? And I was like, what? I remember the Halloween when I got lost and I couldn't find all my friends. I did not realize that I was intentionally ditched by my friends, or what I thought was my friends. And it was just like a couple years later that he told me that. So it was like 2 years earlier, and these guys are still my friends. I thought they were still my friends. And so it really affected me, that feeling of I thought people liked me that didn't, or I thought that I was one of the gang and I wasn't. That kind of, pretty common, I think, traumatic childhood experience of not belonging or being an outsider. And it is, for years, I was very, I guess I'm still, like, I'm sometimes afraid of asking for something if I think somebody won't be honest with their no. Like I do not, like I used to be so, what if I ask a woman out on a date and she doesn't want to hurt my feelings, so she says yes, but she doesn't really want to be out with me? Like that was like my nightmare. And I think it went traced back to that ditching experience. Like the thought of me thinking people like me but don't, that kind of betrayal, that really did a number on me. Vesper says, my sister is a big reason why I'm so into costuming. She was always so supportive of my self-expression and creativity growing up. So many beautiful memories of crafting costumes and doing makeup with her around this time of year. How nice. And good morning, Danielle. Happy Halloween. And welcome, Joyous. Danielle says, being able to reject and be rejected is such a key part of communication. It takes practice. And I think that there's, there's a level below rejection, which is just like honest, emotionless yes and no's. Like one thing that Lisa and I try to practice in a relationship is to speak the low risk, like if there's something that I'd rather not do that, or I would like that, even if it's not a big deal, is try to say it and communicate so that we can start to trust each other's yes and no's. Because we both have people-pleasing tendencies, and the problem with being a people pleaser is that you can say yes to something that you don't want to do, and the other person only wants to do it if you are a fuck yes. And so if you think you're trying to do the right thing by saying yes, or trying to avoid conflict by saying yes, and they are trusting your yes, well, then you've got a problem. So but to risk someone's disappointment in your no, you got to build up trust. It's a tricky thing. Good morning, Brent. Suzanne saying, I wish we could go back in time and comfort your younger self. I every once in a while think about that junior high version of myself and how low my self-confidence was, how insecure I was. And I wonder what, not so much, I think I'm a little over past the age that my younger self would have been like, whoa, but like the 10 years ago me, like it would have been so cool to be able to tell my 13, 14-year-old me, like, this is the guy you're going to grow into. And they'd be like, fuck you. But I mean, like 13-year-old me so badly wanted to be a cool weirdo, and I think I kind of became a cool weirdo. Not became, I think I worked on and walked a path and fought hard to be a cool weirdo. But yeah. But then, who knows what struggles and challenges are necessary to get to the place you need to be. You can't protect someone from their struggles, or else they don't learn their lessons. They don't grow in the way that they need to grow. So who knows? Vesper says, my friends and I were just talking last night about when we feel the most vulnerable. For me, it's when I am setting boundaries for myself or asking something of someone else. It just feels so risky to me, and it continues to be a challenge to my honest communication. And that is one of those areas where, I think that is a classroom that is best taken on in partnership, and to show that vulnerability and hopefully get supported and encouraged and say, hey, this is hard for me to say, or I'm a little worried here, or I'm scared to say this. And then to kind of like learn that your fears are overblown. And ideally have the other person say, I am so grateful that you are trusting me with this vulnerability. I'm so grateful. I'm so appreciative that the actual issue that you're asking about is less important than the trust of the honest communication. And if you can actually communicate that to one another, it makes it so much easier to deal with anything, because you're both clear that all the issues themselves is just the practicum to get to the trust. And so if we have an opportunity to practice being honest and authentic, then whatever outcome of whatever desired opinion is secondary to the feeling of trust that is built. But wow, it is hard to get there, from nowhere. It takes effort and communication. And I think everybody involved has to say, like, you have to be grounded, non-triggered, resourced, and in the right headspace to take it on. Thank you, Danielle. Curie says, I'm grateful today for the people in my life who understand I have people-pleasing tendencies and give me permission to be honest. Awesome. Yes, that's kind of exactly. Scott says, I think people who strive to be loving and caring are sometimes afraid to tell the truth because there's a fear of hurting people's feelings. Absolutely. Yes. Which is reasonable. And it is also, if you can pull back and look at it, it's also, it is creating separation because you are not allowing the other person to know the truth. So they are then trying to evaluate their relationship with you. They're making decisions based on what they think is the truth, and you are giving them what you think they want to hear. And while it might avoid short-term conflict, it does not allow for true trust. To true trust, you have to be okay with having somebody not happy in the short term. One of the best advice I ever got within open relationships, but it relates to everything, is you have to get comfortable saying things that people don't want to hear. Woo! So in that context, it'd be like, okay, let's say I went on a date with someone other than my primary partner, and they said, how was the date? My tendency is to say, it was all right. Like, I don't have as much fun as I have with you, no matter what, even if I had a great time. Now, my thought is that's what they want to hear. That'll make them feel better. But in doing so, I have now created a lie and this falsehood, and I've separated my truth versus the reality that I am presenting to them. Whereas if I said, oh, we had a great time. We have so much in common. We both love pink so much. And my primary might be like insecure, and it might trigger them. Hopefully, ideally, short term, they then, as they get through that, they recognize, wait, no, we have a super deep bond. This momentary joyful experience that my partner had does not devalue my connection with them. And in fact, the fact that they trusted me to tell me their joy with this other person is proof and evidence of the depth of our connection and the honesty that we have. So in time, I build a super powerful, divine connection with the person that is willing to risk my disappointment, my jealousy, my frustration. Whew, that is advanced level communication, though. Hey, Sandra, good morning. Vesper says, authentic, secure partnership is tremendously helpful for growth in these areas. And I'm grateful for my partner and the safety he provides for me to practice this. Christopher is grateful to have warmth as we see migrants in tents on the street from Venezuela having to deal with their first taste of snow this morning in Chicago. Ooh. Wow. How is that for a reminder of gratitude? Just warmth. Man. Javi, good morning, Javier. Javier is happy love moment, beautiful soul. Super special hug to Scott. Joya says, today I'm also grateful for clear communication and building a relationship with permission to honestly share and knowing it's okay to say no or fuck yes. Danielle says, woo, that is such a huge lesson for me, telling the truth instead of what I think they want to hear, especially in the context of open relating, which ironically requires a lot of this. Exactly. I'm really glad that I got to learn and practice that in open relating because it really matters no matter what. I mean, it's all relationships benefit from it. And I should say that, like, I'm absolutely a learning and practicing and having to continually check in and ask, am I allowing for trust in the situation, or am I trying to people please? Natasha says, I'm grateful for an understanding partner when I'm being open and vulnerable with uncomfortable pieces of myself. You know, I heard somebody say that the most psychedelic experience is romantic relationship. And it's because of this, what we're talking about, like the amount of growth that can happen when you have a person that is consenting and mutual consent to vulnerably connect with a fellow human being, which, you know, meaning saying, look, we both understand that traditional old school dating relationships is, you know, you're trying to play the part and do the thing that you think the other person wants, and you're trying to like court them, and like, no, we agree that we are each divine expressions, and therefore we are perfect, and therefore we need to learn to trust one another to expose and share our divine authenticity. And even if your truth is not my script of what I think you should be, that is my opportunity to do work on my expectations and my scripts. It is not anything that is wrong with you. And I'm allowing you to have that practice of trusting me. And we both are like recognizing that this is not an easy task. And yet at our if we pull back into our intellectual brains, we know it is insane to think someone's truth is anything but perfect. So let's practice getting through whatever triggers come up as we are exposed to someone's authentic truth that we might not be ready for in the moment. And let's trust that the other person can get triggered and get through it. That's the hard thing for me, is like, if someone does get by something you say, something you do, some thought or decision, I don't want to do that, I do want to do that, and they go, what? Like, you can't attach too much to the reaction. What you have to say is, I'm not going to register, I'm not going to, nothing gets written down in pen as far as what you did or what, until you get through your process. On the other side of it, what you feel and think and react, that's the aspect of you that I need to attach my meaning to it. So whatever momentary freak out is part of the process and is forgiven. The danger comes when your mind goes, oh, they freaked out when I said that last time. You know, no, they didn't stay freaked out. You helped them to go through the process, and they got to the other side. And on the other side, everyone is at a level of connection that is impossible to reach if you are crafting your truth for one another. Super graduate level stuff, but that's how relationships can be the most significant classroom of our lives. And it doesn't have to be in a romantic relationship. It can be in friendships. It can be with parents. It can be with coworkers. It's just the romantic relationship is usually where you have the depth of commitment that we're going to I trust you, but you can build that trust in all the relationships in your life. Danielle is grateful for sunshine and clear weather in Vegas today. Also grateful for community, both mine here and this one online. Well, thank you, and glad that you're here. Ooh, we're closing in on past. Thanks, Gerbot, and you're welcome. Looks like it's cold in a lot of places. Still not, it's getting chillier, but nice sunny day in San Diego. Suzanne says, anybody who lives where it's cold, it's 25 degrees Fahrenheit, where Suzanne is. Did anyone get that feeling of not being ready for it? Like, where are my socks and gloves, etc.? Natasha says, yes. Vesper said, I definitely was not ready for this first cold blast. Vesper says, all relationships can benefit from the communication lessons that come up frequently in non-monogamy. I continue to follow several ENM poly, which is ethical non-monogamy, even though I feel most aligned with monogamy because the lessons they share are universal for all kinds of authentic relating. That's my feeling too, is that I think my tendencies are not in that of polyamory, but I do appreciate the philosophical, spiritual principles that guide, some of the overt practices within those communities. Thanks, Suzanne. Hey, Mark. I'm trying to show some kindness to my loyal subjects, so thanks for showing up for this Halloween love morning. Natasha's saying that her relationship is providing me the real work and the trust needed. I'd feel I've grown more with this man than ever before. It's frosty here in the Pacific Northwest. Second topic. That's so great, Natasha. So, Kiri says it dropped 50 degrees in a day in Austin. Woo! Hey, Scott. Scott's saying this is a fantastic masterclass in relationships. Listening to you, I realize I've become less and less trusting over the years. I think that is very common, That's it. When you get hurt or when you cause someone hurt, the natural tendency is to close, and it takes real work to stay open and to keep risking. Scott says, grateful for Hug Nation today, allowing me to heal and give me more confidence to build relationships. Awesome, Scott. So thank you for sharing your heart with us and allowing us to send you love and warmth, and for being a part of this experience that we get to share together and recognize that we're all on this journey together, and we are so many more people like us than sometimes the news might make us think. It's a cold, unfeeling world out there, and it's also filled with people like us. So, as we are super blessed to have communities of support and awareness, there is a responsibility, I think, to try to lean in to the difficult stuff and to have the tough conversations and to be a little bit more risky in our vulnerability and our authenticity. And part of that is being kind as you go through the day. So I encourage us all as love ambassadors to stretch into the connection. Say hello and good morning. Maybe even text a few people and just say, I've been thinking about you. Increase the loving connections in the world. That is your responsibility as my loyal subjects of King Halcyon on this Halloween day. Good morning, Abigail. Well, it is past, and I got to get ready to record a podcast for Stay Sparked, which I hope you're all subscribed to Stay Sparked and Hard on the 80s, and the Hug Nation YouTube channel, and my newsletter, which I just sent one out last night. And you can get all that stuff at johnston.com, JOHNSTYN. Yay, Danielle says, I accept this mission wholeheartedly. Kerbot says, grateful for these reminders. Abigail is grateful for new authentic connections and the ability to express myself freely. Yay. And Carrie's saying, it gets easier with practice and with the right people. So true. Because even like, don't you, I feel through this conversation, everyone here has recognized the gift of someone trusting like that, or showing that vulnerability, or showing that courage to take a risk. So the more we know that the people that we want to connect with value this type of risk taking and actions. And so if we know that there's lots of us out there, then it makes it easier to take the risks. So thanks, everybody. So wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big squeeze, a big hug all around the kingdom, and feel ourselves being hugged and hugging one another, being reminded of everyone doing the best they can. And so forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, feeling connected in this experience of oneness as we take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and King Halcyon and all of you, my loyal subjects, on this Halloween, thank you for being here for this Hug Nation Love Morning. Have a beautiful Halloween. I love you. We're here every day at 9 a.m. And then gratitude circles at noon and 6 in Zoom if you ever want to get a little FaceTime and share a minute of your own gratitude that people can feel your ripples. So I'm glad you're here today, Scott. And hello, Elsie. Thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, everyone. Happy Halloween.